The NBA draft is going to bring a lot of excitement to the city of Chicago. But there's one prospect that no one really believes that we can get, and that's Darren Peterson. But there are some reports out there that may be suggesting we might have a chance. Could Darren Peterson fall to the Chicago Bulls? We got to talk about it. And on the back end of today's episode, we're going to talk about Jerry Stackhouse, who has entered the chat as a head coach candidate for the Chicago Bulls. We're going to talk about it, break it all down, but you know you got to hear the music first. Cognac. Gang. Shy Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down for today's daily episode. So if you're tuned in, like what you're listening to today, help us reach our goal of getting 10,000 subscribers by doing a simple two-step, hitting the like button and then subscribing to the channel. Don't freeload, ladies and gentlemen. Don't freeload. It's a simple two-step. Like, subscribe. It supports the channel. Go ahead and do your due diligence for some good content over here on Shy Boys Podcast. But nonetheless, let's get into the content. We're not going to hold you any longer for giving you what you deserve around some exciting times around Bulls Nation. Now, could Darren Peterson fall to the Chicago Bulls? And most of us, when we thinking logically and we having these basketball discussions, we're looking at the NBA draft and saying there's no way that the Chicago Bulls can get Darren Peterson at the number 4 spot because somebody within the first 3 could take Darren Peterson off our hands or, out of the draft. But there's a legit conversation that we have to have. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, follow me on this journey and let's discuss this further. Because if we keeping it a buck, including myself, I got to keep it a buck. Darren Peterson is the best prospect in this draft. However, there are some red flags that make you pause for a little bit and be like, you know what? There's some questions regarding some of the things that he did last year during his time in college that may say, you know what, let me go ahead and get AJ DeBanza first. You know what I mean? And there are some scenarios to where you look at him and be like, man, how does he really want to play ball? All fair commentary, all fair. But listening to the draft analysts and the basketball guys that also cover this thing, they consistently say that Darren Peterson, when going up against Cam Boozer, when going up against AJ DeBanza, he give them buckets. Hey, sometimes your best work, you're going to hear about it from others. So according to the word of mouth, Darren Peterson give these other prospects in this draft buckets. But there's a number of things that we got to follow and listen to when discussing if this is a possibility for the Chicago Bulls. Simply because if we listen to what he said after interviewing with the Washington Wizards, we have to legitimately ask, can he slide in this draft? And what's a slide? 2 to 4. 2 to 4. That's it. But Darren Peterson, out of his own mouth, said, I was surprised by how much they, speaking of the Washington Wizards, wanted to talk about Darren as a person instead of basketball. That's pretty cool. So one has to then, raise his eyebrows and the light bulb go off and say, hey, what we're all as basketball fans and some of us more into the evaluation side have to come to and say, hey, what is he talking about? Most of us that have been paying attention is we know what he's talking about or know or understand what the Washington Wizards are or why they're focusing more so on the character aspect of Darren Peterson. Getting in the game, going crazy for a half, and then taking yourself out of the game, not being available for some of the games, things like that. We understand what's taking place here. So then you have ESPN's Jeremy Woo saying that Darren Peterson medical evaluations have yet to be shared with NBA teams, which is like, hey, what are you trying to hide? You know what I mean? Kidnap put fear in some of the other teams for selecting Darren Peterson. It's all speculation. Don't get me wrong. It's all speculation. I believe if you pass up on him and let him fall to the Chicago Bulls, you're tripping. That's just my personal opinion. But it does come into some logic when you discuss things like this regarding a player that you're taking high in the draft who we know is a awesome, and that's in all caps, player. He's awesome. Now, don't get me wrong. I am one of those Bulls fans that believe that you don't trade up out of the 4th spot because you can't go wrong with either of the quote-unquote big 4. Hopefully that don't start a beef. We know the last time somebody brought up big 3, it started a crazy beef. But in this situation, the big 4 of Cam Boozer, AJ, Darren Peterson, and Caleb Wilson, we know in this spot, you can't go wrong with any of those prospects. So I'm of the belief you should not trade any future assets to move up because you can't go wrong with the selection of either one of those guys. Either one of them. So I say stay put, don't trade, don't mortgage any future capital on moving up. You good with any of those 4. However, if Darren Peterson is on the board at 4, you run to the podium, hand in the ticket, and celebrate. You do that. You absolutely celebrate the opportunity to draft this guy. You figure out all the other shit later. Don't get me wrong. You will have those questions like, damn, man, will bro really be in tune? But you worry about that later. I ain't talking about no damn A-Cuff. I ain't talking about no damn Mara. I'm not talking about anybody else at 4 if Darren Peterson is on the board. Period. Period. You don't question this. Don't try to outsmart yourself. Don't try to make some crazy-ass scientific chemistry project in your mind. If Darren Peterson, because of the medical evaluation, because of some teams questioning his character, if he slides to 4, no question, you run the fastest you have ever ran to the podium to select them. Let's keep it a buck. And I understand that there's going to be some people out there losing their mind. Some people that are just trying to overthink everything outside of the character on the basketball court. We talking buckets. We talking about the 5-gallon buckets that you can go get from Lowe's. The 5-gallon buckets that you can go get at Home Depot. He coming with 2 of them, 1 in each hand. Buckets. Don't overthink this. And while there are some reports that are coming out and saying that some people that's covering the Washington Wizards trying to put it out there and say that this may be a warning sign for not receiving the medicals, for for questioning the character stuff. At 4, the Chicago Bulls, no hesitation, nothing. You better be running to that damn podium to select him if he's there. Y'all let me know how y'all feeling about that. How concerned are you about the character questions? How concerned are you about hearing some of these things that are coming out about Darren Peterson? And how would you feel if the Chicago Bulls select Darren Peterson? My position is I don't trade up for anybody. But if he's there on the board at 4 and Cam Boozer's going, Caleb Wilson's going, AJ is going, you absolutely pull the fucking trigger and select Darren Peterson. You absolutely do it. Let me know how y'all feel down below. Now we gonna move on to the final part of today's episode, and we gonna talk about Jerry Stackhouse, who has entered the chat. He has entered the chat, and I am excited because this is shaping out to be a really, really good list of coaching candidates for our Chicago Bulls, man. And we talking about Sean Sweeney, Dave Bliss, Tiago Splitter, and Ryan Smits, and a couple of other guys, Lamar Skeeter, and all those guys, those names that we broke down on multiple episodes to talk about our Chicago Bulls and who can eventually go on and be the next head coach. I brought up names who they were potentially overlooking, like Rajon Rondo, Sam Cassell. Do you look at Jason Kidd? And just real quick on Jason Kidd, bro, if you still bringing up the DV stuff from way back when, bro, people can't evolve. People can't get better. Let it go. Seriously, let the shit go. I don't want Jason Kidd as my head coach. But if you're still hanging on to that stuff that happened way, way, way back when, let it go, bro. People can evolve. People can grow. People can be better. Let it go. But now back on Jerry Stackhouse. Played in the NBA 18 years. 18 years. So that's really, really good for me. He was an assistant with the Toronto Raptors in 2015, and then should we call this a promotion? Like, let's keep it a buck. Should we call it a promotion from when him in 2015 being an assistant and then 2016 to 2019 being a head coach of the Toronto G League Raptors team, the Raptors 905? I guess we call it a promotion because you went from assistant to head coach. Maybe, whatever. That's what he did. Then in 2018 to 2019, he spent time with the Memphis Grizzlies. And he was also a head coach in college from 2019 to 2024 with Vanderbilt. Vandy. Had a couple good seasons, had some bad seasons. And then the last 2 years spent time with the Golden State Warriors. So a really impressive resume with a diverse feel to it, being in the NBA, being in the G League, being in college. I think it's very, very impressive as a resume for a guy that also played 18 years in the NBA. Added his name in the chat, added his name to the list. I'm intrigued. I would imagine that the process for the Chicago Bulls will look something like they're going to interview all these guys, and then they're going to chop the list probably in half, have a second interview, and then make a decision. I would imagine that's how it's going to go. I don't know if that's exactly how it's going to go, but typically when following around and looking at different things, you kind of hear different, styles on how organizations run things. And a lot of the times, the more common thing is to interview a large pool of candidates, then slice it in half to have a second interview, and then they make the selection. Typically, that's how it goes. We'll see what the Chicago Bulls are going to do. Now, we're hearing the names of all these different candidates, and I'm just like, man, I like Tiago Splitter. I like Dave Bliss. I like Mike Nori. I like Jerry Stackhouse. I do. Those are the names that I really, really like on this list. So it's like, I just hope the Chicago Bulls at the end of the day make the right decision and get the right guy. That's my biggest thing. I just hope that they get the right guy. Now, I understand there's going to be other names that are mentioned, like Lamar Skeeter, like Ryan Smits, stuff like that. All guys have really impressive resumes. And I can also say that they're looking for a relatively young guy that could potentially bring fresh ideas to this organization. Not going after Tom Thibodeau. No slight to Tom. I love Tom. He brought me some of the greatest moments in our life as a Bulls fan, because we know it's been miserable around here. But I'm glad they did not circle the block, spin the block. I'm glad that they not looking and talking to guys like Doc Rivers. I don't even know why I brought that name up, but I'm just happy it's not happening. I'm just happy it's not happening. I'm happy that they're looking at guys who has been present on the bench with some type of organization that has had some type of success in recent memory, and now interviewing these guys to find the best candidate. The process seems good. Hopefully, Bryson Graham makes the right decision. It's very important that we make the right decision because we already know you can have a classroom full of great students, but if you're a horrible teacher, the class ain't going to provide nothing or grow in a way that you want to see and the way that you want it to be productive. That's it. You can have a Maserati, but we all know that shit is trash. We want something that provides longevity. Toyota, Honda, something like that. You know what I'm saying? We don't want the Maserati. The mug gonna be in a shop within the first 3 weeks. We already know this. We want the Toyota. We want the Honda. We want years and years and years stacked of success for our Chicago Bulls, man. And this is a great candidacy pool that the Chicago Bulls have, or that's being leaked out to the world. And man, it's an exciting time to be a Chicago Bull fan. I want to just include before we get up out of here, though I am excited, I still need to see some action, period. I feel good. But at the end of the day, we need to see the action. The next two things are crucial to the state of the Chicago Bulls before I go. The next two events are essential to the Bulls, and I'm going to add three. We're talking about who do you bring in as the coach? We're talking about who do you draft in this draft? We're talking about what do you do in free agency? It's not to say that this thing is going to turn around in 2026, but it is the start of building a solid foundation. That's what I mean. So Jerry Stackhouse, hey, man. Sean Sweeney, hey, man. Dave Bliss, hey, man. Yeah, we're trying to see what these guys do. But at the end of the day, we're going to let Bryson Graham cook. And hopefully he cook up a nice, good gumbo. All my gumbo makers out there, y'all know it take time to make a fire gumbo. My wife make a fire one. And she be in that bed whipping up that roux. That roux, you got to whip it up. You can't rush the process. So we're not going to rush the process. It's good to feel excited, but we need to see some action at the end of the day. But hey, man, that is it for me today, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode, man. It's been an exciting last 2 weeks. Myself and my co-host C-Dub, we are on our road to 10K. So don't freeload. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to help us reach that goal of 10K. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you always see red, and y'all already know we're going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace. Cognac. Gang.